Welcome to our 2024 season of the Cloud Industry Forum Presents TWF show. We're speaking to you from our mixed reality newsroom style set, courtesy of our friends here at Disruptive Live. And this is our new style video podcast, where each week we interview a guest from one of our members or someone with something to say about cloud technology or AI or transformation or what's coming next. I'm David Terrar. I'm the CEO of the Cloud Industry Forum, which is a not-for-profit trade body that champions and helps accelerate the adoption of cloud technology and services. If you want to find out more about us, we're at cloudindustryforum.org. I'm at DT on X, David_Terrar with an A on Threads, Instagram, and easy to find on LinkedIn. Today, we'll be talking about adoption challenges for AI and Gen AI in the enterprise space. We'll explore the importance of linking AI to your digital and data strategy, and we'll zoom in on some exciting use cases. Our guest is an AI evangelist and partner at Wipro Consulting within the talent and change part. She's a published author, has a background in journalism, and like me is an ex-IBMer. I am delighted to welcome Silvia Cambie. Silvia, please, can you introduce yourself, your company, what you do?
Hi, David, and thank you so much for having me today. So I work for Wipro in the consulting arm of Wipro. I am a partner in the talent and change practice, and I work on the adoption part of large technology rollouts, system rollouts, including AI.
Excellent. Now, before we start talking challenges of AI adoption and that kind of thing, can you tell us a bit more about your background and what you brought you to here?
I have been in the technology space for about 9 years and in the AI space as well. So I was in IBM prior to joining Wipro 5 years ago. And I had a good fortune in IBM to work with Watson and to learn from some real pioneers. And I have developed a great passion for uh, telling a narrative around AI, helping users and helping clients get their heads around AI. And in particular, facts like AI is not programmed like traditional computers, but AI learns, so it has to be enabled to learn from the proper data. So that became a real passion of mine that I am now applying to my work.
Excellent. Now, obviously, the topic exploded over the last year or so with OpenAI's ChatGPT, but actually AI has been developing for over 70 years. Maybe we can start by you kind of giving us an explanation of AI and the different ingredients and how it all fits in.
So what happened in the autumn of 2022 was with ChatGPT and Gen AI, we kind of moved from curation to creation. So in the past, AI was used to curate data sets and gain insight that we would be using for decision making. And with Gen AI, we can all use AI to create, right? Text, messages, um, essays, video, images, PowerPoint presentations. So that's what really brought AI to the forefront, Gen AI. But AI is not new. It's been around for 70 years. So it was kind of, it came to the forefront for the first time in the 50s when John McCarthy, a computer scientist, used the term for the first time. And so, what made the difference in the past few years has been that we have three pieces of technology that have really helped AI to become mainstream. And these are cloud, because the AI resides in the cloud and its data sets reside in the cloud. It's big data because AI needs a lot of data to learn. And it's mobile because mobile devices like phones, tablets, sensors, wearables have been producing the data we are using to train AI. And AI has two pieces of technology at its core. So it's machine learning. The machine makes a correlation between a pattern and an outcome, formulates a hypothesis, interacts with a human or with another machine, and gets feedback. and integrates that feedback into the next hypothesis. So that's how it learns. And then natural language processing, I'm sure you've heard of that. That is basically the machine understands language as humans speak it. So, David, if I tell you once in a blue moon, the machine will understand it's not about the moon, it's not about the color blue, but it's about the context. And thanks to natural language processing, the machine can also interpret core emotions in human language, like, based on the 7 core emotions in psychology: anger, fear, sadness. And that's the technology that is at the core of sentiment analysis that is used a lot in AI.
Excellent. That's great. I'm glad that cloud's important to it as well. Now, you're working with and helping enterprises with the adoption of AI and on the people side. What kind of things are those customers doing and trying?
So a kind of a low hanging fruit, an easy entry point in my world is sentiment analysis for service desk. Service desks that get an enormous amount of messages, texts, calls every day, and they need to escalate some to a human. Some of those messages, some of those incidents, and so when we apply sentiment analysis and we can scan and decode those emotions contained in those messages, then the experience for the user becomes much richer. The escalation can be done more properly. The interaction with the human can be done is much more effective and much more to the point. So sentiment analysis is, in my world, something that is quite accessible to clients who are experimenting with AI for the first time.
Excellent. So you kind of ChatGPT is a kind of like the chatbot, so they're an entry point into this. Are they kind of experimenting with prompt engineering and how's it working?
So we've all been experimenting with prompt engineering because we are using a chat GPT, right? So a prompt is basically a natural language request given to a machine learning engine, and we wait, we get an answer. And for that, we use input questions, examples. So for instance, if you are doing a series of interviews with your stakeholders that are testing a certain piece of technology, a certain system, and you're doing a lot of those interviews, and you need to get some insight from them. You have to get some pain points out of those interactions to know how to improve that testing. Well, now you can enter all those, all those texts, or all, those recordings into the machine. You tell the machine what you want. Maybe you give, the machine an example. Maybe I would like to zoom in on a particular geo where I know that there are particular pain points, and so you get a much faster answer than if it were done, that analysis were done by humans. And humans can also zoom in much better on the real aspects that are difficult as part of that analysis. And so it's a much richer experience altogether.
Excellent. Now, what about, I mean, you mentioned data there. What about the importance of data in the context of a company's AI strategy and their overall digital transformation strategy?
So, as I mentioned before, data is really the bread and butter of AI. So, in order for you to roll out AI in a successful way, you need a good data strategy. Well, that sounds like a no brainer, but it really isn't, because a lot of companies, clients become very enamored with a piece of technology, right? They go very deep into um, how it works, and they tend to forget that you have to have the right data. You have to know where your data is, where how you combine your data sets. To give an example, in the energy sector, if you're doing a piece of pipeline maintenance and you're using AI, you are you should use not only the data that comes from the piece of equipment, but also other data sets that are relevant, like weather data, weather patterns, geopolitical data, for, kind of, is there some unrest that could happen in that area that is going to impact your operations? So it's really about becoming very creative as to how you combine data and how you can put together a sophisticated data strategy.
Excellent. Now, obviously, there's another side to this. What are about the risks associated with using bad data and so-called AI hallucinations?
Yes, so we've all had experience with hallucinations, right? The machine hallucinating. Basically, when ChatGPT hallucinates, it gives an incorrect answer, believing it's correct. And in ChatGPT, you can modulate the temperature of the engine. So the higher the temperature, the more freedom the engine has to extrapolate, and the more probabilistic the answer will be. The lower the temperature, the more deterministic the answer is. So you put some strict guardrails as to how much the engine can extrapolate. And I'll give an example. My favorite example of how a machine can hallucinate comes from the current issue of Scientific American, where the author writes about an engine that, the author asked the engine how to boil potatoes, right? Well, how do you boil potatoes? And the engine was hallucinating and said, you put a raw chicken into a pot and you dance around it. And I really love it because it's a great example of how, AI can go wrong, and how the engine can hallucinate. Now, you mentioned bad data. To me, the worst problem with bad data is really bias, right? We've read a lot about bias, I'm sure. But bias is really because data is created by humans who have prejudices and preconceptions. And so, that those prejudices get injected into the data. And take, for example, the in image recognition, a lot of data sets that are put together with images of white people, so other ethnicities are not represented or are underrepresented. And imagine the implications of that for self-driving cars, for autonomous vehicles. That's really bad data out.
Really, really. Now, that's been a great explanation. Some of the best cases you've seen.
Yeah, so I'll go back to the world, and my use case I is in safe, and it's around sound recognition. So, for instance, take an engineer on an auto who is using a smart wearable that is connected to some form of AI, and AI listens for what we call wake words. So, for instance, the user mentions like, I can't figure this out, no idea what this is. And in the past, we would like bots pull up a manual, but now more sophisticated bots can really assess the extent of that sound, degrees of for the degrees of danger. So to me, in health safety, that is an amazing use and a real game changer.
Excellent. Are there any use cases outside of the end space that have excited
Yes, I a recent one that is really incredible. So um, uh, the group of students has used AI to decode ancient um, documents and from Herculaneum. So in the year 79, a Mount Vesuvius in Italy, Naples, arrived and the ancient cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum with ashes and magma. And so in Herculaneum, they had a library where they found a lot of scrolls, but they were covered in volcanic mud, so they could not be enrolled without being destroyed, and they were, impossible to read. So a group of students used computer tomography to create a digital twin of that roll, and then taught the AI engine to spot the parts of the papyri where ink is, and so they were able to then read the text. And a particular text, so one of the students was the first human being in 2000 years to read a text by the philosopher Philodemus, who was writing about enjoying life, about music, the color purple, and the taste of caper berries. And to me, that is an amazing use case. It's like we're moving into the future to understand the past, so we've really come full circle.
I love that. I love that. Excellent. Great example. So to finish off for our audience, what do you think are the kind of the keys to the best AI adoption strategy?
So I think first and foremost is good data and a data strategy. So as I mentioned before, think about your data sources, think about you can combine them, and be creative. Use techniques like design thinking, or think a bit out of the box, because the richer and the more creative that data is, the better will the AI learn, and the better will the AI serve you. And then also develop a compelling narrative around AI. There is still a lot of education work that needs to be done. A lot of people, a lot of users don't understand that AI is not programmed, it learns, so they don't really understand that dynamic. And in the case of ChatGPT and prompt engineering, I think it's really, in my experience, it's getting the engine to understand you, to understand how you write, how you like to put a document together, how you like to, sort of communicate with your different stakeholders and audiences. And so give the machine the opportunity and the time to learn.
Excellent. Well, Silvia, it's been awesome. It's been great to kind of get your insight into the way that AI really kind of fits together and those brilliant use cases, and to talk about it in that level of detail. That's been really, really great. How do people find out about you and what you do?
Yes, so you can email me at Silvia at silviacambie.com, or you can check my LinkedIn profile and follow me on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Well, Silvia, it's been great to talk about the practicalities of AI adoption and those great use cases. Big thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, David.
I hope you enjoyed what Silvia had to say about AI and those use cases, and particularly the analysing the old scrolls from 2,000 years ago. That's fascinating. And the importance of getting your strategy right at the start. We'll be back next Wednesday at 2:30 UK time. We want your feedback, we want your suggestions, or maybe you want to be a guest on the show. Please put comments in here or email us at info@cloudindustryforum.org. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope to see you next week or next time. Thanks.